Yo, what's going on, you YouTubers? It's the greatest noob, T-Bird325, your favorite noob judge, and I'm coming at you with another School of Dueling lesson for you. This one I entitle Checking versus Restrictions. Alright, the title, Checking versus Restrictions. I'm going to give you a definition I've come up with. Checking, what does that mean? Checking means looking at a card's text, its attack, defense, type, attribute, anything basically that is information about the card. Sometimes certain cards check for certain things on cards to activate effects. We'll say, I'll give you a sneak peek. Zombie World. Okay, when Zombie World is face up on the field, you cannot tribute summon anything other than a zombie. So in that case, it restricts you from summoning or tribute summoning monarchs or anything level 6 or higher. Unless it's a zombie, it'll restrict your hand because the game mechanic will restrict you from doing that. Now, before I continue into this lesson, I'm going to give out random shout outs. Go into my book of shout outs. Send Your Soul, Hope for Black Rose, I Slap Noobs, Fortune Ladies for the Win, Mason 0558, Ty Fox 7, RFF Odin, Swampert, Team XFC, Beijing Coke, Machine Dramon 1986, 214 Karama, the Team DK, and I Lazy Cakes. Alright, those will be my shout outs. Special shout outs to Yu-Gi-Oh Girl 2009, G-Hopper85, I Own Miley, I Own Ashley, Holy Cheetos, and Begin the Uprising. Not to mention, last but not least, FGX3, one of my favorite friends. Okay, so now, this lesson is on checking. Now, this is especially a good tech to use to get around the rules, and we judges have come up with it, and it's fairly special. Way back when the game first started, we used a card similar to this. The card was called DNA Surgery. Alright? You would turn everything to insects. Insect barrier says insects cannot attack. So basically you turn everything to insects and your opponent's monsters can attack, because basically everything is an insect. Well, this DNA transplant, I used this back in 08 or 09, whenever Black Wings first came out. I made a deck called Wingsworn. Now you guys call it Valuesworn, but I came up with the deck first, before even Japan, before anyone else came up with it. Basically, I tied it all together using this card. This card, I mean, the deck was not very cohesive or consistent. But the fact that I used this card and Honest to turn everything to light, so all my Black Wings, all my Lightsworn, they'd be able to be protected by the power of Honest. Not to mention I had 3 Kalutes back then. But then Value came out. Basically, now that Value had come out, you throw a Value and a Sirocco to the grave and you get a Shotgun Charlie. And he's still protected by Honest. Now that Kalute and Honest are down to 1, the deck pretty much fizzled apart. But there's another piece of the glue that comes back, and that's Allied Justice Omni Weapon. Basically, it ties up the light and the dark together again, like another thread, if you will. Okay, DNA transplant. I turn everything to fire. Okay, that means you cannot throw your Honest. You cannot. I mean, you can pitch your Kalute, but you can't throw your Honest. Basically. Now, I use a puppet plant to take control of whatever it can take control of. I think it's a spellcaster or warrior. Alright, so I use puppet plant to take your monster. Now everything is a fire according to DNA transplant. I attribute it off to burn my opponent for the original attack of the monster. So if they had Golems, I think he's a warrior if I'm not mistaken. If he is a warrior, then yeah. Let me look that up. Handy dandy. iPhone! Yay! Alright. X-Saber. Oh, that's right, he's a double X-Saber. Nope, he's a Beast Warrior, so boo. Ooh, they misspelled that. Alright, well, anyway, we'll turn everything into light, and we'll just say I took one of your monsters, and then I activate Spiritual Art, Fire Art, Kurenai. Now, I inflict the damage equal to the monster's original attack at you. Basically, you're not getting them back. Okay. Now, checking. By the way, DNA transplant only works on face-up monsters, so if it's face down, it is not counted as a fire type. So, things that check outside of the hand. We're not going for the hand yet. We're going to go off the field. Caius, he checks off field. Okay, he can check on field and off field. Devastation Virus checks on field and off the field. Eradicator Epidemic Virus, it checks on and off the field. So does Crush Card Virus. I really am not going to go fishing for one Crush Card Virus that I have laying out somewhere in a box of rares. But here's the reason why it checks off the field. Whenever Caius hits the field, he targets one card on the field. If the card is face up and it's dark, you remove it as if it was a dark. If DNA Transplant is face up on the field, it turns everything to dark. And the monster he targets is face up on the field, even if it's a light monster out of play, or originally a light monster. If Caius removes it while it's face up, it's a dark. It's checking it as just before it leaves the field. It is dark when it left. So you'll burn for 1,000, or whoever will burn for 1,000. Okay? Now if the monster was face down, and even though this is face up, activated, and everything is dark, if the monster were face down, was a light monster, it is removed face down, all the chains resolve, then the monster flips up and checks itself out of play. Was it a dark monster or not? If it wasn't, you don't burn. If it is, you do burn for 1,000. Okay? Also, same goes for Deck Devastation Virus. It's checking for a dark monster, 2,000 attack or higher. If... crap, I don't want to give it away. Okay. If this Cyber Dragon is changed by DNA Transplant and activate DDV, alright? So activate DDV, tributing off Cyber Dragon. It was checked on field as being a dark with 2,000 or more attack. Therefore, it's legal to activate. However, if it was face down and this was face up, well, if Cyber Dragon was face down and DNA Transplant is face up, I cannot tribute it with Deck Devastation Virus because it is checked off the field as being a light monster with 2,100 attack. So therefore, the activation could never have happened. Same thing goes for Eradicator Epidemic Virus. The monster has to be 2,500 more or dark 2,500 attack or more when it leaves the field. Checked face up or checked face down in the graveyard or out of play, wherever it ends up. Now, secret tech time. Fusilier Dragon, the dual mode beast. Alright. Its attack originally is 2,800, defense 2,000. You can normal summon and set this card without tribute. In that case, the original attack and defense of this card becomes halved. So it becomes 14 attack, 1,000 defense. What you can do is set this face down using its effect. Okay? Set Eradicator Epidemic Virus. Tribute off this. It'll be checked in the graveyard. It'll be removed from the field face down, pending chains and resolutions. And if there's nothing, well then it is checked. Was it dark? Yes. Was it 2800 attack or more? Yes. Technically it was yes. So therefore, you can activate any one of these face down, as long as this card was face down, even if you set it with its effect in play. Okay, so that's something to think about. Plus, if skill drains in the field, he goes back to 28. Axe of Fools, he goes back to 28. The Chalice, he goes back to 28. Plus 400 if you chalice him. Okay, next thing, Light and Darkness Dragon. Now, Light and Darkness Dragon just says what it is. It's a light dragon and a dark dragon at the same time. If he is face up on the field and has no negations left, and attribute summon my Caius, targeting your Light and Darkness Dragon, and you have nothing in your back row to negate it or anything to negate it, and I target your Light and Darkness Dragon, well, it was a dark when it left the field. Therefore, when I remove it from play, it is checked as being a dark because it was checked on the field as being a dark, even though it ends up being a light out of play. Therefore, you burn for 1,000. Things that check the hand. Zombie World. Queen of Thorns. Zombie World restricts you from tribute summoning anything other than a zombie. Okay? Therefore, if you try to do it, the game mechanic will supposedly stop you from doing it. Queen of Thorns said, pay 1,000 to summon anything other than a plant. So basically, if I have 3 Queens of Thorns on the field and you try to summon a non-plant, you have to pay 3,000 life points just to summon it, because it is checking the hand for the restriction if you're trying to bring it out to the field. So it hovers, you pay the 1,000 per Queen of Thorns on the field to try to bring out your monster. And if Zombie World is on the field, Queen of Thorns is also on the field, then you have yourself a real problem, because nothing is going to be a plant. It is going to be checked on the field, not in the hand. Now, if you try to tribute for something, then Zombie World effect will take precedence, and therefore, if it is not a zombie printed from the hand, you cannot tribute summon it. Okay? So, things that check on and off the field and in the hand: Caius, Zombie World, Queen of Thorns, Eradicated Epidemic Virus, Deck Devastation Virus, Crush Card Virus, Spiritual Earth, Fire, Wind, and Water Art. Alright, they all check things. So, next time you find yourself wanting to make some kind of weird deck, you should give one of these cards a go through. I mean, this is everywhere. So is this. These are meta cards. So, give those a good run through, and I'm pretty sure you can find yourself in some very touching situations, having your friends dropping their jaws at what you just pulled on them, especially if you use Eradicated Epidemic and destroy all their traps. So therefore, there goes their solemn warnings and judgments and torrentials and bottomlesses. The Greatest Noob approves it, baby. Once again, it has been a pleasure. Greatest Noob is going to be out, y'all. I am out like a light. Have a good evening.